Good morning, welcome to my channel. My name is David Okun. I will be talking today about the cost of living crisis. I've been speaking about the cost of living crisis because it's a fundamental issue around the world, in the UK where I live, around the Western developed world and everywhere else. I've been talking about Uganda. Now I spoke about Africa. I will be speaking about other contexts of the cost of living crisis. I will be linking Uganda with the cost of living crisis. This is probably the third video now on Uganda, and I will today be looking about geography of Uganda and wildlife of Uganda. And Uganda is located in Southeast Africa between 1 degree south and 4 degree north latitude, and between 30 degrees east and 35 degrees east longitude. Its geography is very diverse, consisting of volcanic hills, mountains, and lakes. The country sits on an average of 900 meters above sea level. Both the eastern and western borders of Uganda have mountains. The Rwenzori mountain range contains the highest peak in Uganda, which is named Alexander and measures 5,094 meters. Let us look at rivers and lakes. Much of the south of the country is heavily influenced by one of the world's biggest lakes, Lake Victoria, which contains many islands. The most important cities are located in the south near this lake, including the capital Kampala and nearby city of Entebbe. Lake Kyoga is in the center of the country and is surrounded by extensive marshy areas. Although landlocked, Uganda contains many large lakes. Besides Lakes Victoria and Kyoga, there are Lake Albert, Lake Edward, and the smaller Lake George. It lies almost completely within the Nile Basin. The Victoria Nile drains from Lake Victoria into Lake Kyoga and thence into Lake Albert on the Congolese border. It then runs northward into South Sudan. An area in eastern Uganda is drained by the Swan River, part of the internal drainage basin of Lake Turkana. If you watch this video, watch it in conjunction with the other videos, and thank you everyone who have been watching my video. So the extreme northeastern part of Uganda drains into Lotikipi Basin, which is primarily in Kenya. And as you know, Uganda borders Kenya. And I've talked about East Africa already if you look at the rest of the videos. Let us look at Ugandan biodiversity and conservation main article, conservation in Uganda. Let us look at Uganda map of Köppen climate classification. Uganda has 6 protected areas, including 10 national parks, windy impenetrable national park, and Rwenzori Mountain National Park, both UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Kibale National Park, Kidepo Valley National Park, Lake Muburu National Park, Gabinga Gorilla National Park, Mount Elgon National Park, Mashishon Falls National Park, Queen Elizabeth National Park, and Semuliki National Park. Uganda is home to a vast number of species, including a population of mountain gorillas in the Mwindi Impenetrable National Park, gorillas and golden monkeys in the Bahinga Gorilla National Park, and the hippos in the Mashishon Falls National Park. Jackfruit can also be found throughout the country. The country had a 2019 Forest Landscape Integrity Index mean score of 4.36 per 10, ranking it 128 globally out of 172 countries. So we have been talking about Uganda in terms of the cost of living, and we have argued that Uganda should not be suffering the cost of living crisis if it was not for failure of the government because Uganda is a very wealthy country in terms of potential, and that is a story across Africa. It is because of the bad economic system, which is actually not itself a bad system, except the people running it are actually violent. Africa is mostly ruled by dangerous dictators, and this dictatorship is militaristic. And there are forms of dictator which are hidden. You will not know there are dictatorship across the globe, in Europe, in the developed world, in America, and the globalization of a global dictatorship. And this is because people are violent and corrupt, and even if they say there is peace, there is no peace, as in there being no peace for the wicked. And Uganda is no exception. Uganda and the rest of the world are suffering the cost of living crisis because of corruption, and there is a lot of wealth. That's why I'm going through this material to illustrate the evidence that there is a lot of wealth in the world, especially in Uganda. Also, look at the United Kingdom. If you look at the rest of the videos, if you watch the rest of my video, if you haven't watched this video, continue watching. Watch the rest of my video. If you haven't subscribed to this channel to support it. We are a small channel. We are still project. We are growing. We are 10 months into the project. When we began to work on the channel was set up in 2012. But we are determined to make it grow. We are small. Support this channel, share with family and friends, and leave a comment below. Let me know what you think, and we'll talk about Uganda. I'm demonstrating the fact that Uganda is extremely rich as a nation with vast natural resources. And I will be continuing this dialogue. I'm just going through some material to demonstrate what I've said in the other videos. This video is a continuation of the other videos about Uganda. It is also, Uganda is also a continuation talking about the cost of living. All along we have only been talking about the cost of living, but the cost of living, I'm using the cost of living crisis, global crisis, to illustrate different issues within the globe, because the cost of living is evidence of a failed society, and that's what I'm trying to expose. I'm trying to get people to be aware. I know it is sometimes depressing. People want something to entertain, and I'll do my best to see if I can entertain you talking about problems. But the purpose for talking about the problem, the reason I'm talking about problem is that I believe when we discuss to understand the problem, we can actually solve problems. And that's the basis of my discourse at the moment, and everything I do, including entertainment. You see, if you do entertainment, like cooking food, like traveling, like showing around landscape, you are actually posing the problem associated with travel, with entertainment. Life is about problems. And if you can find entertainment from every situation, that's fine, but it's challenging. You go on holiday for 1 year without rest. Holiday is going to be a nightmare to you, because we think the grass is greener on the other side. Whatever you do, try to entertain yourself. If you're doing work, like you're doing YouTubing, entertain yourself in some way. And so somehow I will figure out, if you think I can discuss this topic and then entertain you at the same time, leave a comment below and let me know what ideas you might have. But this is a serious topic. I'm trying to really because it's a priority to me. I think it should be a priority to everyone, because we need to survive. We cannot do everything we want if we suffer in poverty, especially poverty in Africa, especially the ones in Uganda and countries similar to Uganda. That's why I'm talking about this. It's a privilege really participating on the YouTube, and I'm still literally looking to start a process. I've been talking about this off and over, but I'm really looking to start editing my material, because it's really organic, if you like. This is material unedited. You get what you see, and that's how I'm doing it at the moment, and we'll see how we can improve. I've been talking to people with skills. And one of the other things to do, actually, a lot of people haven't actually, many people are not doing YouTube because they don't know how to do editing. But chosen to start doing it, and they learn other things, and also, in the process, try and start improving on the material, on the technicalities, but also trying to think of other subjects. I have no shortage of ideas. I'm just keen to stick with the cost of living now and explore it to the further. I have a plan, and when I finish the first phase of talking about the cost of living crisis, then I will consider doing other things. For now, bear with me and then learn as much as possible. If you can't learn anything, leave a comment below and let me know that you're not learning anything at all of use. And if you're learning something, leave a comment below. And the reality is that we are 10 months, and most YouTube channels will begin to pick up in the second and third year of functioning, and I hope maybe from next year we will pick up and see how it goes. And you know how best to grow the channel. There are so many ideas, but sometimes I believe that if you're doing YouTube, you have to believe yourself and focus on improving on yourself, because the more you do, the more you learn, the better you become. I've seen me changing in the course of doing this channel. I may not be growing quickly, but I'm really learning every day. This is hard work because I have to do other things as well. But there's a lot of prospects, there's a lot of opportunity, and I'm so grateful for the opportunity. And if you're intending on doing YouTube, you just go for it. Get a mobile phone. I'm using a mobile phone. My mobile phone, I've changed my mobile phone a few months ago, just a couple of months ago. This mobile phone is actually much better. And I'm also learning every day, because I watch a lot of material from other people, from other YouTubers. And these days I'm actually in focus on Kenya with somebody called Marwa. Amara, if you know Amara, that's the channel I watch. The channel I watch the most now. I used to watch Sana Tourist in Uganda more. I still watch Sana Tourist. She's based in Ginger. I'm in contact. I also watch Miss Josie a lot. And Wodimaya and Trudy, I watched the videos of Jasmine Hammer in Ghana, and also watch the videos of YouTubers such as these are YouTubers. Most Ghanaian YouTubers, I met them through Wodimaya. Wodimaya is with Miss Trudy. Miss Trudy was the first YouTuber I ever discovered, be it in Africa. And through Miss Trudy, I met Wodimaya. Through Wodimaya, I met first of all Jasmine Amma, and through those people, I met Miss Drew. Miss Drew is actually in Ghana as well. I also met Vanessa Canby. I really like Vanessa Canby a lot. She has content. I think she has stopped for now. I think she had an event in her life, and I really like her content. And Vanessa Canby led me to our sister. Our sister is not on the YouTube, but she is on. Vanessa Canby's sister is called what's her name? I've forgotten her name. She's mainly on the she's on Instagram. I tried to look for her on Instagram. I didn't find her. Vanessa's sister, Vanessa, I think from Scotland. They're family from Scotland, and she's wonderful. Her content is amazing, and I'm beginning to like Jasmine even more. Jasmine Amma. The property and all the travel, I really enjoy their content. But my main focus now, I think Jasmine led me to the King. Life with the King, the people, the black Jamaicans, I think they are from the UK. They moved to Ghana. They are now living in the jungle. I really, I watch them a lot. But this for the last few months, I've been, watching Amara more than anybody else. That village, Namuhansi, I think Namuhansi village in Kenya. I'm so excited about their work and the work Sana Tourist is doing in Ginger, and our brother Kim UG, and all those people are really fantastic. And the YouTube system in the community is growing, and it's becoming vibrant, and it's also becoming very competitive. Although over 2 billion people actually access the YouTube channel, I think every day or every year, I don't know. I think every year or something like that. There's a lot of people watching the channel. I mean, they access the YouTube website. More than I think about 3 billion people. So, I mean, you don't need 1 million people being your fans. I mean, if you're lucky. And so let's go back to talk about Uganda. We are going to talk about government and politics. We are going to look at the politics of Uganda. The present head of Uganda, the president of Uganda is both head of state and head of government. The president appoints a vice president and the prime minister to aid him in governing. So the parliament is formed by the National Assembly, which has 449 members. These include 290 constituency representatives, 116 district women representatives, 10 representatives of the Uganda People's Defense Forces, 5 representatives of the youth, 5 representatives of workers, 5 representatives of personnel with disability, and 18 official members. This is how Uganda Parliament is arranged. It's supposed to be representative of different interest groups, and therefore you have the assembly with people around 449 members. Called Parliament is formed by the National Assembly. I don't know what the difference between Parliament and National Assembly is. There should be a difference. I don't know the technical difference, because I thought they were the same. It's called a National Assembly. Maybe that's our Uganda called Parliament. These are actually these include 290 constituency representatives. Constituency representatives are actually elected, and when 116 district women representatives, I think, are also elected. Representatives, I think, are members of Parliament when they're elected, and 10 representatives of the Uganda People's Defense Forces. I think these actually are they are representatives from the Uganda National Army to sit in Parliament. That's the system, the present regime has created. And I think they are appointed. 10 military people are appointed. The Uganda Defense Forces, actually Uganda National Army. And 5 representatives of youth, I think those are also appointed. And 5 representatives of workers, I think that is also appointed. And 5 representatives of persons with disability, I think that is also appointed. And 18 ex-official members, those are also appointed. Ex-official members, I don't know what they are. I think maybe those who are no longer elected into Parliament, they are appointed by the government. In which case, if the government appoints, let's say we have 25, 30, 5, probably 40 MPs are appointed, about 40 to 50 MPs, members of Parliament, appointed by the government. Indirectly, that is a form of rigging election, because these are actually loyal to the government, and because of corruption, opposition members are also loyal to the government, because if you don't comply with the Ugandan government and the ruling party, you don't get money. Also, MPs like President Museveni, because and the ruling party, because MPs are paid a lot of money. I think they are paid about 30,000 shillings per month, and that is about 7,000 pounds. It's a lot of money for an MP in an African country. Uganda is one of the most poorest countries. One of the poorest countries is the most poorest, actually. The most poorest country in the world. And obviously, Uganda, the reason I'm actually going through this material is the potential the country has. But like I said in other videos, I say, it doesn't matter how good the system is or how bad the system is. It's always good or bad depending on the people in power. Because, Uganda is described as a democracy. Most African countries are described as a democracy until they provoke the West. And the West decide who is a democracy and who is not. So if you do what you are told, you are actually described as a democracy. If you don't do what the West tell you, America, Europe, and all these big powers of the Western world, and now increasingly Russia is also joining their ranks. Today, because of corruption and violence, the difference between Russia and the West is very significant, because they are all doing the same thing. They are both in it for themselves, and they are working with the super rich, with people in power, to exclude the rest of the population from accessing wealth. And that is the problem I've been talking about consistently. Leave a comment below if you like it. If you don't like it, also leave a comment below. Let me know your thoughts. And if you are taking a break, you take a break, and we will meet you someday. And we're just carrying on with our processes. I am so grateful for people who are supporting me now. It doesn't matter how many or how poor or how few you are, and you are the best. For as far as I'm concerned, you are the most relevant people in my life. And never ever despise small beginnings, because small beginnings, this channel is going to be big, and we are going to be very influential in the next 2-3 years. So the earlier you be part of the family, the better. And nothing stops you, especially if you are in the developed world, nothing stops you from watching this video. And nothing stops you from leaving comments. If you think it is of any use, if you think it is of no use, then leave a comment below also. Do what you want to do. But whatever you're going to do, I will be carrying on and persuading people to understand things, the things I'm trying to talk about. I'm trying my best. I will be trying my best to be as nice as possible. But if I seem, I'm talking about a very difficult topic. I'm talking about topic which is extremely depressing even for me. But I determined to speak it out, because if I don't speak it out, no one else is going to do it. People want to be nice, people want to be talking about positive things. That is okay. It is my responsibility to learn how to be as possible, to be as positive as possible. But you see, it's so challenging to be positive if you talk about something so serious, something so really dangerous, something so catastrophic potentially for the world. I'm talking about a possibility of extinction. A lot of people talk of extinction rebellion. If you're not careful, we are going to go extinct as a species. And I am convinced, because people are sleeping. We are allowed to sleep. I sleep also. But being ignorant is an offense, a moral offense. Doesn't matter if you're an adult, if you're a child, you have to take responsibility for yourself. That's what the government said. In the UK where I live, that's what the government has said. We, the citizens of the nations, we should take responsibility for ourselves. And the attitude is global because of globalization, like I said before. It's in Uganda. Uganda is privatizing everything. They're selling of the country to the highest bidder. And that is across Africa, and that's across Europe. Everywhere you go, there is selling and buying. And I'll be hopefully talk about specific regions of Uganda, try and talk about the issue of land. And but I have to finish this process about Uganda first of all and see how it goes. Let us look about foreign relations in Uganda. Foreign relations of Uganda. So Uganda is a member of the East African Community, EAC, along with Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, and South Sudan. I spoke about East Africa and EAC, East African Community. I think it should be called East African Union. But East African Community is different, might be there. So this consists of Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, and South Sudan. According to the East African Common Market Protocol of 2010, there's free trade and free movement of the people is guaranteed, including the right to reside in another member country for purposes of employment. So you can look for work within the regions of East Africa. If you're from Uganda, Kenya, Tanzania, Rwanda, Burundi, and South Sudan. That is a good thing. It's a good thing. It's part of capitalism. It's part of globalization. It's happening everywhere, not just in East Africa and Africa, but it's happening everywhere in the world. Expect that to increase and not decrease. When we talk about Africa, Africa is not a country. The difference between a country and a continent is that a country is what you know as a nation state, with parliament, with the legal system, with the civil system of administration, with banks, with boundaries, with borders, with internal and foreign relations, infrastructures, and policies and processes. A country, as you understand, like if you're in Britain, then the United Kingdom is your country, and a continent United Kingdom is in the continent of Europe. Continent is a collection of countries, as simple as that. So the more the merrier. A continent is better than a country because it has more countries in it. And everything you get in a country, you get in a continent, except you get more of the same. And that's a good thing. Nation of the world uniting to do what is right or what should be right. But with capitalism, the world is set to become extremely wealthy and with a lot of power. The problem with capitalism is the people who run it. The people who run it actually are violent by majority. They are violent. They are very culturally uneducated. And that's why there is a cost of living crisis. And that is why I'm talking about the cost of living. To expose this, I call them wizards and witches. Because if people suffer, look at the war in Israel, between Israel and Gaza. That is wickedness. That is really, really wrong. What is America doing? What is the European Union doing? What is Africa doing? What is Israel doing? What is the Middle East doing? Nothing. The United Nations is just a dead dog. I say this with authority because, see, people cannot be fighting in Niger or in the rest of Africa, in the Middle East, in Russia. We have Ukraine. We have wars everywhere. What are these people doing with their power? Are they sleeping? America, Joe Biden, President of America, has just gone into the Middle East now. And it is so dangerous. We don't even know if we are going to, the world could come to an end this year. If we don't contain the conflict in Israel, over, I think, 3,000 people have been killed in Gaza today, to this day. And there's no sign of abasion. And even if it stops, people are so displaced. So many, the street is in chaos in the Middle East. This war could escalate globally. So if it escalates globally, what are we going to do? What have we done to ourselves? You see, we have been quoting Raz. I've been talking about this all year, that we need to change. Because if I didn't know we could change, I wasn't going to talk. If there was no hope, I was not going to. We just need to choose to do the right thing, to be just, to be human, learn the value of humanity. For goodness sake, you cannot kill children, you cannot kill women, you cannot kill men. Whether they are soldiers, they are humans. Whether they are police officers, they are human. These people are human, flesh and blood. If we cannot value fellow humans, then what are we? People think I'm nagging. Yes, I am. Or I may not, I am not. Think what you may think. I am okay. Think I'm nagging, you think I'm actually pestering you, that is fine. But this is the truth. And this is our life. You are either with me or you are without me. Because I have chosen to speak the truth. We need to start valuing people. The cost of living is created because we don't value human life. The government sits and watch when people die of poverty in Africa, in the Middle East. Even in the developed world, people are on the streets. In England, in Britain, in America, poor people are on the street. Why? With so much wealth. What worries me is the condition of humanity. If we don't change now, we are going to continue to suffer. And I am hoping that by speaking, I may be going to get attention of one or two people to see sense that, we are going the wrong direction in the world. We are going in the wrong direction in the world. If we stop and change and begin to look at ourselves, begin to value humanity, we cannot call each other strangers. Even within your neighbors, especially in the developed world. You see, the bigger the cities, the wealthier the place, we begin to focus more on other things. I don't dispute that we should focus on wealth. We should focus on wealth. We should focus on technology. We should focus on knowledge. We should make progress. We should do development. I'm all for development. We should focus on that. But what I am asking us to do by using this tool is that we should focus on humans first. We should value humans as a number one priority, and that is all I'm trying to say. And I will be repeating this point until I get one or two people to understand what I'm trying to say. So let us go back to looking at Uganda. Let us go back to looking at the foreign policy, the foreign relations in Uganda. We are looking at the East African community so far. We have said that you can, if you are an East African, you can actually find work anywhere in the region. And that's the thinking, because the borders are opening and the countries are opening up. Sovereignties are being given up in favor of federated, or even in fact of the union as sovereignty. So we are going from national sovereignty to the union sovereignty. Instead of Ugandan sovereignty, we are giving up the sovereignty of Uganda in favor of the sovereignty of East Africa. That is a good thing. Whatever we set out to do is always good if we are educated culturally, and that is my reasoning. That has been at the core of my argument. We need to really discover this truth and change our mind to start valuing humanity first. Cultural education means valuing humanity first. Once we start doing that, once we change our mind and start valuing humanity over and above even the environment, even wealth. Now people shoot one human shoot another human dead in the name of freedom, in the name of environment, in the name of money and wealth and power. Nothing in the world can be more valuable than human life. Human life has become so cheap. People shoot people on the street without even blinking. This is in Uganda. This is in Africa, in East Africa, across the globe. We should really do something about it. Education is the key to turning the way we think, to acquiring new knowledge to achieve change in favor of humanity, so that we don't go extinct by violence and more violence. Even big countries like America behave like a little baby. Little babies are harmless. Wild animals are even safer to live with other than human beings. And what are we going to do? If you look at the president of America, he is a slave. He is in prison. He is surrounded by bodyguards. The president of America should be able to walk alone, freely on the street, without a single security surrounding him. This man, Joe Biden, is a prisoner. You see, he's a slave of his success to be the president of America. He's under siege. And this is a story. If you go to Uganda, you see the the convoy of President Museveni. You know the man is actually a prisoner. I mean, the rest of us are actually free. We walk freely. We can sleep naked on the street if the police allows us to do that. President Museveni cannot do that. The first family cannot do that. They are surrounded by armed bodyguards, like criminals being escorted to their death penalty, their execution appointment. And this is the case with all the 8 of states because of violence, because of failure of cultural economy across the globe. And this is a serious thing. I mean, the rich are actually being surrounded by armed bodyguards. They are prisoners. They cannot enjoy. They are so sad. They cannot enjoy their wealth because they are under siege. They are surrounded by a rotten society. We are so lost as a human species. The quicker we realize this, the better off. And that is why I'm talking about the cost of living, to illustrate a social problem, a global problem associated with failure of cultural economy. Cultural economy has to really be improved by education. Education should actually focus on valuing humanity. If you value humanity, you don't kill a person, you don't fight anybody, you don't really abuse anybody. A man, a woman, a child, a father, a mother, you don't abuse anybody if you value them. The reason we abuse each other, the reason we treat each other badly, because we don't value them. We value money, we value wealth, we value even animals more than we value human beings. What has happened to us? And that is why there is the cost of living. The cost of living is created by poverty. In a world full of wealth, full of technology, full of experience, full of rich in culture, how can we be poor? I'm not talking about wealth. I want the government to take responsibility with people, the people of the world, to take responsibility to get humanity out of poverty. It is not allowed. The cost of living is proof of poverty, and it is wrong in a world full of wealth. It is cultural failure. Thank you so much so far for watching this far, and carry on with this process with me. We are not going to go very far because we are limited with storage, and this video is going to, I'm going to monitor it to make sure it doesn't stop on me abruptly until I actually delete some of the information, and then free up spaces. Then we will continue with the discourse. Let us continue to see this material. I will talk from time to time to try to drum up the idea of humanity, humanity as an economic infrastructure. This protocol, however, has not been implemented because of work permits and other bureaucratic, legal, and financial obstacles. So the problem of policies, intentions of countries coming together, it tends to be slow because like countries like Africa, especially in Uganda, civil infrastructure is almost zero in terms of politics and administration. Because in Africa, especially in Uganda, we use military dictatorship, so we got military resources, no civil resources at all. So implementing policies, especially policies where nation states have to give up their sovereignty, dictators such as we find in Uganda and the rest of Africa are reluctant to give up power because power revolves around individuals. Like President Museveni is the policy, is the law, is the executioner, is the court, is the jury, and the judge. Everything revolves around the president. That is the idea of dictatorship. He speaks and the world moves. If he doesn't speak, nothing happens in Uganda. That is how it works. So Uganda is a founding member of the International Authority and Development IGAD, an eight country bloc, including governments from the Horn of Africa, Nile Valley, the Great Lakes, the African Great Lakes region. So this is actually an economic project, economic initiative for development, and it is consistent with globalization because globalization is about global economy, and it's about development. It's about creating wealth. It's about promoting capitalism. Its headquarters are in Djibouti City. Uganda is also a member of the Organization of Islamic Cooperation. This is actually cultural cooperation across Africa in Uganda included. This is a model and a format across the globe. It's consistent with the global economic and social and political project, also known as globalization. So we see the president of Uganda mixing and mingling in 2007 with president of America, President George W. Bush, meeting President Museveni in Entebbe, Uganda. This was actually on the 11th July 2003. This is actually America and the West actually are the drivers of globalization. We are going to look at the military, the military of Uganda, the Uganda People's Defense Forces. In Uganda, the Uganda People's Defense Forces serves as the military. Number of military personnel in Uganda is estimated at 45,000 soldiers on active duty. The Uganda Army is involved in several peacekeeping and combat missions in the region, with commentators noting that only the United States Armed Forces is deployed in more countries. So Uganda is the America is the military policeman of Africa, probably, because he is armed. The country is armed to the teeth. And that is actually to drive the global agenda in the Great Lake regions, but also in Africa. And Uganda has soldiers deployed in the northern region, northern and eastern areas of the Democratic Republic of the Congo, and in the Central African Republic, Somalia, and South Sudan. So these are areas of conflict. I don't understand why, if you have to bring development, you have to fight. And this is repeating the point I made previously, is the evidence of the cultural failure, which is the cause of the cost of living crisis. Corruption in Uganda. The Transparency International has noted Uganda's public sector is one of the most corrupt in the world. Public sector, as opposed to private sector, although it is shrinking globally, world governments, including Ugandan government, is shutting down public sector by selling the entire economy. When we talk about corruption in the public sector, we are producing an adulteration of the services. And yet, the cost of living crisis is now happening because we have actually closed down, we have destroyed the public sector. In Uganda, we use corruption as a weapon of mass destruction to destroy the public sector. And therefore, we end up in a country languishing in poverty. Because under capitalism, the only way to support the 95% of the people excluded by the economic system of capitalism is to actually manage the public sector. And if we close it down by selling it away, we sell the public sector away, we're selling the country away, we're selling away infrastructures dealing with the energy, food, education, healthcare, employment, and education, I say education already, public transport, and all these other infrastructure associated with the public sector, with the public services. The proportion of economy intended to provide the basics for the majority of the population of the world, including in Uganda. And under capitalism, under the agenda of the global capitalism, we have actually instructed ourselves mistakenly to close down the public sector and promote the private sector. The private sector, which operate under capitalism, is for the few and not for the many. For 5 or 10% of the population, concentrating wealth, obscene amount of wealth in the name of the few and not the many. In Uganda, it is rumored, President Museveni, if you go online on the internet, you will find Museveni's net worth is said over $13 billion US. It is disputed, but that is what the internet says. And his wife is worth $700 million US. And where did they get the money from? From capitalism. You know, they sell and buy at will. They own the country literally, and this is repeated across Africa. And actually, outside of Africa, within the developed world, it is rumored that Vladimir Putin of Russia is the richest man on earth. And where do these people get the money from? Mr. Museveni of Uganda has sold milk. He said up in public that he sold milk. You know what milk is. So if you can sell milk and earn 13 billion, Ugandans shouldn't be poor. They only have to repeat to do what the president has done, and then they will get rich. I mean, I'm not talking about wealth even now. If Mr. Museveni is right that you can sell milk and become you have a net worth of 13 billion US dollar by selling milk. Milk from cows, or it doesn't matter where the milk comes from. I mean, I don't think they sell human milk. If there is human milk for sale, I think it is animal milk. Cows, goats, sheep, maybe camel. You ask Mr. Museveni, horses. Ask Mr. Museveni where he gets milk from. I think from cattle. That's what I think. It's from cattle, and where he sells them, how he sells them. If he's willing, if he's in a good mood, he's going to share his secrets with you. But you, as the citizen of Uganda, only need to sell milk to get out of poverty. You're not even looking to become rich. And if you become rich, fair enough. But let me warn you that capitalism is not designed to get everyone rich. But it can be modified by government intervening to get people out of poverty. And that's what I'm talking about. Well, that's why I'm talking. I'm talking for the government to stop events such as the cost of living crisis, because it is evident that people still live in poverty around the world, in Uganda, Africa, and around the world. In 2016, Uganda ranked 151 best out of 176 and had a score of 25 on the scale from 0 perceived as the most corrupt to 100 perceived as clean. So it is one of the most corrupt countries in the world, number 25th in the world, to be the most corrupt from the 176 countries in the world. If you are number 25th, you are actually the most corrupt. That's if even the statistics is to be trusted, because Museveni and Uganda are so many friends in the West. In the Western world, with all the banks, they control the banks, they control the power of the world, the wealth and the power of the world. They may be even rigging information in favor to the S2. They can protect Museveni because Museveni is doing their dirty work in Africa and in Uganda. And Museveni has to do that because that is how to survive. If you don't do that, you're going to be destroyed. Why would you be destroyed if you can sell your country? There's no politics, there's no democracy in Uganda or anywhere else. In that sense, because of corruption, because of cultural failure. I'm sorry to say that. For those who are hoping that we are enjoying the fruit of our labor, operating some form of democracy. Democracy is an idea, a good one, but unfortunately it doesn't exist in practice. Sorry to say that. The World Bank's 2015 worldwide governance indicators rank Uganda in the world's 12th percentile of all countries. After more than 30 years, now approaching 40 years of Museveni ruling Uganda by force, there are rumors of rigging elections, but I don't know if it is true, because you see, if you go to investigate a culprit, like if you think Museveni is a culprit, if you think he is actually rigging elections or doing all the atrocities, because if you're a military dictatorship, what are you going to do? You are going to do so many damage. You're going to steal, you're going to kill people, you're going to destroy the country, which is what has happened in Africa. I don't know if Museveni is responsible for that, but he is, because he's the president of Uganda. He doesn't mean he did it himself, but his decision to become the president of Uganda, especially coming through the force of military arms. You see, there are laws in the world for some individuals, but not for men like Museveni. When the Western world is backing you, you carry out their vested interest in Africa. And that's the level of corruption in the world. That's why there's war in the Middle East. And that war is a conspiracy. Because there is actually, if you are reasonable, but people with so much power, so much knowledge, how can you allow wars to be all over the world? That's a conspiracy to destroy the world. So, because if there is war, people don't make development. If whatever wealth is there is destroyed. So that the few remain in control, the many are destroyed. It's a conspiracy to destroy the majority of the population of the world. And I can say that for sure. And if you want to investigate that, you investigate that to find evidence. Because the people who are in power are the ones who control evidence. If you suspect somebody, how reasonable, including in Uganda, if you suspect Museveni, how reasonable is it to go and ask Museveni to provide evidence against himself? With so much power, absolute power, ruling Uganda in a total elective dictatorship under militarism. Elective dictatorship under militarism. Elective dictatorship is a common concept. It happened in Britain. Because the current conservatives are being in power for 12 years. They are practicing elective dictatorship. So democracy is fake, and it is also bogus, because we don't achieve change. We may achieve continuity, but we don't achieve change. I mean, change, more of the same of the Conservative Party, whose primary responsibility to destroy the public sector and trade the evil aspect of capitalism, which exclude the rest of the population from wealth and opportunity to destroy people. Actually, potentially, capitalism can destroy humanity because it's so violent, because of cultural failure. The people are corrupt. That's the point. And that's what I've been saying. So Uganda is in trouble. And if you think Uganda is the only country, Uganda is doing what it has to do. It has to be corrupt. Otherwise, it's going to be destroyed. You to survive, you have to do as you are told. Uganda and Africa are actually under siege by the Europeans. The Europeans are also under siege by their own devices, which is actually a ticking time bomb under their belts. And it's going to explode in 100 or 200 or 500 years. If it does, then humanity will go extinct. There is still time to change, to learn cultural economy, to respect humanity, to change the way we do, just deal with the violence. The violence now sustain. We can go on like this. And I'm left with a couple of minutes. And let me conclude this dispensation. I can't finish now because my capacity has gone. And thank you for watching this video. Subscribe to my channel, and I'll see you in the next video. I'm about to die out, and thank you for watching. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Leave a comment below. Click the notification bell. And see you in the next video. Going. We are gone.